Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, and welcome to another episode of Frail Conversations. Today I'm gonna be covering one that has been requested several times over and discussed about, and I think it's more so time because it's finally reached a point where I could talk about it, or I should talk about it. Also, I want to say, this will be my only time talking about it. I try not to give situations like this too much energy because, not that I don't give a fuck, but I feel like there's bigger things to worry about and there's bigger things to deal with in this regard. And the thing that, people have been asking me, when you going to talk about, you need to talk about the agenda against black male masculinity. You need to talk about the agenda against masculinity. Do I feel like there's an agenda? Blah, 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 all of these questions. And, if you know me, I get tired of repeating myself over shit. So that's why I kind of write books and do these podcasts and shit. Because once it's done, I could just refer you to it and I ain't got to keep repeating myself. But that's not here and there. So the topic is there an agenda or an attack against masculinity? And do I feel that there is one? My answer to that is no. I don't feel like there's an attack on black male masculinity. I don't feel like there's an attack on masculinity. I don't feel like there's an agenda against masculinity. I feel like there's an agenda towards the genocide of black people. And the attack on masculinity is simply a branch of that fucking tree. You feel me? It's so much more, and I'm going to talk about everything that ties into it. But what we're seeing right now as the quote-unquote attack against masculinity is the final fight, the final battle, the final last-ditch effort to make this genocide shit stick, to make it work. But it was an entire process. And, for some, I could be reaching. Who cares? But I'm going to give my perspective, my understanding, and my studies all together and bring it all in to show that, it's deeper than just having an agenda against black male masculinity and an agenda against masculinity as a whole. It's the agenda to increase toxic femininity within men and complete the genocide against black people. Black people have been hard to kill. We don't die, we multiply. So with that conceptualization, how do you keep people from multiplying? Okay. So with that being said, that's where I'm going to be at with that. I'm speaking I'm going to go from a broader perspective of it. And I'm going to get ultimately to the point of masculinity being attacked. But for the most part, it's not the agenda to kill masculinity. It's the agenda to kill black people. But before I get started, as always, be sure to follow me on Instagram at _just_scene_. Follow the podcast at the Just Scene Podcast. Follow my merchandise at Just Scene's Merch. Be sure, if you're trying to transition into the plant-based lifestyle, follow the 90-day vegan course and get my book, Hitting It Raw, Living a Raw Plant-Based Lifestyle for Life. Be sure to get my book, So Frail, A Reality to Black Male Masculinity, and So Frail to Toxic Femininity. A lot of what I will be discussing in this episode can be found in a lot more detail than I'm going to go in those books. If you're looking to transition, or you're looking to learn how to day trade and invest in the stock markets and read and understand the markets and everything, be sure to enroll in my course, Mastering the Market, A Comprehensive Guide to Forex Trading. I also accept donations and tips and sponsorships, so you can find all of that in the description of your podcast. Cash App and PayPal is fine. I think that's everything. So with that being said, we'll take a quick break and then we'll hop back into So Frail Conversations. Is there an agenda to kill masculinity? Oh yeah, and don't forget to visit IamJustSeen.com. There, you can get all things Just Seen. You want to add the So Frail series to your library? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to learn how to master the market for serious trading and investing? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You ever want to just chat with Scene about anything from simple advice to mentorship? visit IamJustSeen.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at IamJustSeen.com. So just take a quick peek into my world and see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it. You will never see it unless you visit IamJustSeen.com. All right, welcome back. And as I said, no, I don't feel like there's an agenda to kill masculinity. I feel like there's an agenda to promote the genocide of Black people and to infuse toxic femininity within men and make men respond from that perspective and that dynamic and that energy. That whole premise and thought process behind where I'm at with that is found in So Frail 2, Toxic Femininity more so than it is So Frail, the reality of the Black male masculinity. But both books go hand in hand. And although you can read them independently, they still go together in the grand scheme of it all. So before I begin, I want to first define masculinity as a whole. Masculinity is the spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment of the essence of analysis and deconstruction. That definition is very, very important to understand because it is showing that in that essence, we don't have that anymore. So there's not an agenda to kill masculinity because masculinity was never here. Our masculine essence has been gone since we've introduced ourselves and been introduced ourselves with the Caucasoid reality. So we can get past that. We're off that. That's why I'm saying there's not an agenda to kill Black male masculinity because there is no masculinity. The agenda is to strengthen toxic femininity. And if you've read So Frail 2, you know what I mean by toxic femininity. But I'll define femininity now as the spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment of the essence of synthesis and construction. By it being toxic, it then converts synthesis and construction into destruction. And if you look at the world, if you look at our state right now, our essence of what we deem as masculinity is and this is what they're calling toxic, is actually femininity. And because of that, we destroy everything that we come in contact with. Naturally, that's what it is. So that's what the infusing is. That's what the agenda is to push that toxic feminine essence into the man to get him to destroy himself and his people. You feel what I mean? So that's where we at with that. So there's not an agenda to kill masculinity. There's an agenda to increase toxic femininity because by that, you kill the people. You kill the people. If the man is not able to analyze and deconstruct his reality, instead he's synthesizing it and constructing it from a negative polarity, he will destroy everything. He will destroy his women. He will destroy his children. He will destroy himself. So that's the agenda. But it goes deeper than that because the agenda begins with, the agenda, as I said, is about genocide. It's not about targeting the Black man himself. It's about targeting Black people as a whole. You feel what I mean? So whether you acknowledge the protector and provider moniker and all of that shit, once that man is out of that picture, he dies. When he dies, his lineage dies. When his lineage dies, his people die. You feel what I mean? And because there's no earth willing to take him, which means there's no women willing to procreate with this man. You feel what I mean? Because his essence does not suit her. And those wombs will then find outside of him what can appease that. Now, granted, it's all toxic femininity. There is no masculinity in the world. You feel what I'm saying? So even if women step out away from Black men, they're still going to be dealing with toxic feminine men, but they're going to be dealing with toxic feminine men who are willing to submit that essence to the woman's femininity, to hype her up and make her, feel stronger, but she's not balancing with masculinity. She's coinciding with toxic femininity by default, and she's allowed to be herself. You feel what I'm saying? So it's a whole genocidal tactic. It's a plan. So we also got to look at the word agenda itself when we think about it. What we're seeing manifest in itself right now, the agenda's been done. We're reading the agenda minutes, quote unquote, right? So when we think about what an agenda is the details of the meeting that already occurred. So when we say, oh, there's an agenda, the meeting is already transpired. We're seeing the agenda's minutes. You dig what I'm saying? We're seeing the agenda's minutes. So this agenda has already been put in place. The meeting has already happened. The plan has already been implemented and everything, and it's already in execution. And what we're seeing right now is the means to attack and kill the black man, with promoting homosexuality and the transgender push is to put the icing on the cake. Like, this is the nail in the coffin. You feel what I'm saying? And it's going to happen over a 10-year bracket. So we got the next 10 years to figure this shit out. We literally got the next 10 years to figure this out. It's a science. They've broken this shit down. Like, when we look at racism and we look at a racist, right? Racism is institutionalized, yeah. But a racist isn't inherently a bad being. You know what I'm saying? It's the racist who practices racism who becomes the bad person. You feel what I'm saying? But a racist, anything that has the ist suffix in it, ist, is a person who has perfected or mastered the root word, that which precedes it, right? So a racist is one who has perfected their understanding of race, right? So then when we understand race as a whole, race, the original word of race began as the competition. You feel what I'm saying? You go back to the archaic definition of it. Before it meant the genetics of it being the three types of genetics. It started off as the competition, and then it was applied to genetics. So when you have the competition of genetics, you get race. You feel what I'm saying? So there's only three races of people. If you study anthropology, if you study different sciences like that, they'll tell you that there's three races of people. You have the Africoid, the Mongoloid, and the Caucasoid. In essence, which is the black man, the Asian man, and the white man. Everybody else is an amalgamation of the mixing that occurred between these three races of people, right? So the competition is between the genetics, you know, and of course the Africoid has the dominant genetics, the Caucasoid has the recessive genetics, and the Mongoloid or the Asian is caught in the middle of what I would call based off of the study of genetics, there would be heterozygous dominant or heterozygous recessive, you know, and you can study this if you want to. You could look up what's called a Punnett square, right? And it'll basically, on the smallest scale, they call it Mendelian genetics. On the smallest scale, you have dominant, you have heterozygous, and then you have recessive, right? So the race is the competition between our genetics, right? And as us having the dominant genetics, we're automatically winning the race. So the racist is one who has studied and perfected and understood this, right? To practice racism means that, okay, now I have to make sure I keep myself at the advantage, right? I can't allow the dominant genetics to win because they're already winning. So now I have to cheat to win if I have the recessive genetics. You feel what I'm saying? So when we look at that, the goal, the agenda is to kill the race. It's to kill the race. It's not to kill the black man himself. It's to kill the entire race. You feel what I mean? And there have been a set system of things that have been in place and been implemented to get this job done. You feel what I'm saying? To get this job done. And the first aspect of it all, I'm not going to go back into the slavery. I'm not going to go back into that. I'm going to start off within the last 100 years, because this was a 100-year plan, because they already foresaw that they only have 100 years left on the planet. You know, in today's time, I said it in a jam session one time. I said, what the fuck is up? Wazungu time. I give them 25 times 4 or 5 more years left. The warm glow get them real stressed, but we're real blessed when that sun shines. You know, the world is getting hotter. This goes into cosmic astrology, to where you start to understand that the zodiacs have a higher propensity of power, in which they run through a cycle for 2,100 years. You feel what I mean? And so just like we have summer, winter, spring, and fall here, in the cosmological aspect, you also have the same thing. So what we called the Ice Age, that 10,000 year time frame and everything, like this can actually be broken down. If you study Nopta Playa and the origins of that, there's a 26,000 year processional that runs counterclockwise. You know, we're in the age of Aquarius. I'm not going to get too much in that, but I'm trying to give the insight as to how they know, but we don't know. So you feel what I'm saying? So what we're considering global warming is not really global warming. What it is we're transitioning into cosmological spring. So from cosmological spring out of cosmological winter, we're now going to have 18,000 years of heat, 18,000 years of sunlight, 18,000 years of a powerful energy coming from the sun that they can't sustain. Only the strong shall survive, which is our dominant genetics. You feel what I'm saying? So for them, it's desperation. And if I can't have this world, nobody can have this world. So they have to kill the black race. It's not about the black man in essence. In the full gamut, it's about the black race fully. You feel what I'm saying? And by understanding that you have to kill the black race fully, you have to target the black woman and you have to target the black man. So the attack is on the surface. Okay, physically we're going to kill the black man, but everything else has already put the black woman in opposition to him. Like, this whole shit is strategic. So so what we consider global warming, the ice caps melting and all of that shit, it's supposed to happen this way. It has nothing to do with depleting the ozone layer. That sped the shit up. Don't get me wrong, that sped the shit up. I'm not denying that aspect of it and saying it's not real, but it's real in conjunction to what was already going to happen anyway. You feel what I'm saying? The world started getting hotter. Climate change was supposed to happen because we're leaving, out of a cosmological winter. That's where the ice age started, at the beginning of the cosmological winter. You feel me? Just like regular seasons, you know that it starts to get cold around the fall, and then it goes, how it goes. But the cosmological aspect of it sends it the other way. So rather than going Aries, Taurus, Gemini, we go Aries, Pisces, Aquarius. So that's the actual, it's counterclockwise. It's the precessional, right? So that shit started, the ice age kicked off in, what was it? I would say the age of Leo, right? In the age of Leo. So then we had Leo, we had, what's after Leo? I forget what's after Leo. Then you have Cancer, then you have, unless it is Cancer, that's after Leo. Leo, Cancer, Gemini, Taurus, Aries. So that time frame became cosmological winter. We already kicked off from fall, and now we're starting to heat back up for spring. So we're going to have spring, summer, fall again, which is going to be about 18,000 years of heat. So we know who's going to reign supreme for that time frame. So the goal is to kill us off before that can happen. All right. But because they're going to die off anyway. I'm not being funny or rude, but they only have about 120 years left on this planet. They've had the negative birth rate for the last 6 or 7 years, which means they're dying more than they're giving birth. You feel me? That's why we don't die, we multiply. This is our shit. This is our planet. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm not going to go back heavily as far as that, but I'm trying to get the motion going as to how the racist knows what the fuck is up. What the fuck is up? So the genocide of it, I'm going to begin in this era or this epoch and talk about, first point is eugenics. So, segregation was cool and everything because, you broke the mind and they thought that we couldn't achieve. But in our separate state, in our isolation and being to ourselves, we were able to thrive. So the first attack was towards killing, they destroyed Black Wall Street, destroy all these things. And, we segregate. We say, hey, if we say, like, they have this mentality of superiority. So they're like, if we segregate from them, they'll die. They can't thrive without us, but we thrive better than y'all ever could. You know what I mean? And so we moved according to that, and then we started to develop. But when they seen that in segregation, we were doing better than them. That's where the conceptualization of integration came in. But it was before all of that started to happen. They had what's called the Eugenics Society. The Eugenics Society was the first. This is where the agenda was written. Okay, we're seeing the agenda minutes from the Eugenics Society. Margaret Sanger, Planned Parenthood, all of that shit have the abortions and everything like that. We have to kill these beings. This is genocide. This is not an agenda for the masculine energy. It's not an agenda to kill masculinity. It's an agenda to kill the race of Black people. You feel what I'm saying? So you have the eugenics. You feel what I mean? And in the eugenics that is being broken down, a piece of it was, okay, we'll do Planned Parenthood to kill them, because they said it. In the Eugenics Society, they said if we allow the Negro to thrive, they will wipe us out. This is what Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, rest her soul, was explaining in the ISIS papers. You feel what I'm saying? How they fear genetic annihilation because they have no choice. It's just natural proclivity. It's natural selection, as Darwin put it. Do I fuck with that shit? No, but certain aspects have reality to them. It's that theory of evolution and the theory of, it's just nature. You're going to go with the nature's going to go with the dominant species. It's going to go with the dominant genetics, and it's to survive itself, survival of the fittest. So eugenics was designed as the first point of the agenda for genocide, to say, okay, we're going to kill them off. So this is when you get things like the Tuskegee syphilis experiment. You feel what I'm saying? That was one of the first points. They infected our people with syphilis, bro. Like that was okay. We're going to see how they work. We're going to give it to them under the guise that it's something good. They're going to go spread it to each other. You feel me? And then they're going to start dying. So that was one of the first things. It was a biological warfare. You feel what I mean? And in the biological warfare, the goal was to completely annihilate and obliterate the people. It didn't work. That was the first aspect that didn't work. You feel what I'm saying? Because we still had our own treatments. We still had our own. And then we just naturally have a higher essence that keeps us alive a lot longer. Melanin is so fucking powerful that it can sustain things that, and I'm not going to just say melanin. I'm going to say eumelanin because that's the specific form of melanin that black people have. Caucasians have pheomelanin or false melanin. It's a melanin that does not produce the melanosomes correctly. So therefore, when the sun hits, they reflect light. We absorb it. We absorb sunlight. That's why this planet is ours. The sun is built for us. It's against them. So, but whatever. So when we look at the eugenic society, those plans were started. We look at Planned Parenthood as the only thing in an isolated point. Margaret Sanger was a fucked up individual. That's why I tell people when they say, they talk about the white man being racist and all of this, he comes from a white womb. She's far more racist than he could be. And when we look at the full gamut of how, when it comes to identifying, like the white man, that we understand, okay, he's the cops, he's the doctors, he's the dentists, he's the people that, but who's raising the babies? You feel what I mean? Who's raising their babies? If he's outperforming racism, if he's outside of the home doing and conducting racism and trying to expand the white supremacist power structure, the white not so supremacist power structure, who's raising these babies? How are they growing up to continue to be racist? It has to happen in the home. And who's teaching them? The racist womb. So the white woman is far more treacherous than the white man. I don't fear it, but if I had to put something and say I will be more aware and alert towards the white woman than I am the white man. I don't give a fuck about the white man in regards to that capacity of racism, because the white woman is stronger than him, because she creates the nation. She continues the nation. So when we look at Margaret Sanger, her thing is like, we have to exterminate the Negro. If we don't, they're going to exterminate us. So Planned Parenthood was developed. Now, granted, Planned Parenthood did develop into positive things, birth control and different things like that. However, each one of these things affect black people a lot, far more dangerously than they affect Caucasian people, simply because we have melanin. Melanin in our bodies is an enhancer. Good or bad, whatever it binds to melanin, and melanin can come in any form. You can have neuromelanin, you can have the melanin of the skin, you have melanin that coats your organs, you have the melanin that is in the womb and on the penis that creates the spark when the electromagnetism happens between the sexual act to create the baby. You feel what I'm saying? Melanin is all through our bodies. It's all in us. But when things hit us, they hit us abundantly, and they hit us a lot harder than they hit everybody else because of the eumelanin template. You feel what I'm saying? This is why we are rhythmic and we can feel music better than anybody can feel music. You feel what I'm saying? This is why our bodies physically can perform better than anybody else's without steroids, without excessive protein or anything like that. They know us. You feel me? They know us well. They're racist. They perfected the understanding of the race. You feel what I'm saying? This goes back into the point I was talking about with it's a podcast I have called Warriors, Thinkers, and Messengers. You feel what I'm saying? Every society, every culture, every race of people has those three components to them. When it comes to the men, you have the warrior, you have the thinker, and you have the messenger. All of our thinkers are not being respected for their thought. And a lot of them are only studying the history of reality, but they're not doing the science too. Their thinkers are in the lab studying the science, studying us. And where they've shunned intelligence, which is a masculine principle, where they've shunned intelligence and they still need our intelligence. So they bring us into their institutions to make it think, okay, if I go to a PWI, then my degree is better. I'm more like, no, they need your mind to enhance. Like when we do research projects and shit, that research, they use our mind and our intuitive nature and our mental capacity to expand their shit. That's what the research is about. They reach a cap every time. Perfect example of that is Something the Lord Made, the story of Vivian Thomas, how he did not have a medical school degree. He did not have these things, but he was the first. He was the reason why we're able to have open heart surgeries now. And the white man that tried to get credit for the shit, he couldn't perform the surgery. He said, I have to have Vivian Thomas in here. And they was like, no nigga can come in here and be in this. He said, if he's not in here, I cannot do this. You get him in here now. And not only did he get him in there, Vivian Thomas did not operate. He stood back at a distance and guided him through off the dome. That's some powerful shit. It takes melanin to do that shit. They know that shit. You feel what I'm saying? We have the propensity to propel shit forward. The black mind is powerful. And the black mind must be destroyed. You feel what I mean? So the genocide is to kill the black people. I'm going to keep reiterating that. The agenda is to kill black people, not just the black man. Not just his essence and, his ability to procreate. It's just not that. You feel what I'm saying? So Planned Parenthood began, and then that's when the abortions and all of that shit was set in motion. Okay, look, in addition to abortion, they sterilize women, and women have missed that point. There's women who have abortions and they're like, after I've had an abortion, I can't get pregnant now. There's certain shit your body has to heal, because when we think about it from a spiritual perspective, your body has gone through a trauma when you get an abortion. A trauma that you don't release. You feel what I'm saying? That's PTSD. PTSD isn't always gunshots. It isn't always war. You feel what I'm saying? So in addition to having that abortion, you are sterilized physically, but then you're also sterilized mentally and spiritually because of the psychological and the emotional and the spiritual trauma that has now been embedded within your womb. You feel what I mean? So all of those aspects now play a role into that. Okay, so we have the Planned Parenthood. Their plan, that was their original plan, the biological warfare and all that shit. Okay, let's start taking this off. So now we're going to skip a little bit. Now, again, because this is a podcast episode, I can't, give everything in detail. I'm not trying to spend that much time on it, right? So we can fast forward, and we can now go into the civil rights movement, right? This is why I always say I respect it for what they tried to do, but it wasn't a part of our plan. You feel me? It was a part of their plan. This is why they led the civil rights movement. They just put black faces in it. The NAACP led by white people. You feel what I'm saying? Even now, the Black Lives Matter movement led by white people. You feel what I'm saying? They put a black face on it and we think it's us. It's not. Integration was their shit as a means to, okay, we can't kill them like that. So we segregated. We had the Tuskegee experiments and everything. Now they started creating schools. We had our HBCUs and all of that shit. We started educating ourselves, and we was like, oh, we were thriving in segregation. We have to integrate as a business move. It's no different than when we try to give Abraham Lincoln he signed the Emancipation, because it was a business move. If we don't free these niggas, they gon' that's free labor for the South. You feel me? You know how that's 100% profit. We can't rock with that. That's going to kill the Industrial Revolution, and we're not going to be able to move forward. You feel what I'm saying? So they had to. That was a business move. That war was business. And they had shit to do with freeing black people. But again, it's the illusion of inclusion. They fought to free us. What about the abolitionists? Fuck them. That's how I feel. Fuck them. Because this is that thing, when it goes back into, oh, there's good white people. There's good cops. No, it's not. It's not. Because if there was good ones, they wouldn't be punished. If there was good ones, there wouldn't be problems. The problems wouldn't even have transpired. You feel me? You want the award and an accolade for helping me against your brother who's fucking me over, as opposed to stopping your brother from fucking me over. You rather just tell me, yeah, he's just a fucked up person, as opposed to saying, yo, you're a fucked up person, stop doing this shit. No, you don't tell them to stop doing the shit. You just tell me to be okay with them doing the shit, and you're going to help me as best as you can. And it ain't going to be much help, because you're not willing to relieve yourself from the power structure. You dig what I mean? You're not willing to do that shit. So now when we get into the whole integration thing, every one of our people, the leaders, there's a destruction of the leaders, but in the leadership, they knew who to put in front of. Malcolm X, Malcolm X doesn't get what Martin Luther King gets, because Martin Luther King promoted pacifism. Martin Luther King promoted genocide, low key. Now I'm going to bring you into the very society that doesn't like you. You feel what I'm saying? We had the Ruby Bridges thing where she was the first black girl to go to an all-white school. That's not an achievement. That's not an achievement. That's retardation. We were mentally retarding our kids when we put them with Caucasian people because our kids learn faster than them. Our kids learn better than them. We have the mental capacity to thrive and think better than them. So you're killing the mind by infusing them into their schools, because we had that. Those people that fought for the civil rights movement had an inferiority complex, which was still like, you're fighting to be equal to somebody you already feel inferior to. So that was going to be a negative in the end anyway. You dig what I mean? So when we look at Ruby Bridges, she's the first black girl to go to, school and everything. We think that's a good thing. It's not a good thing. It's very horrible. Because when they study the race, they know, well, black babies, they sit up faster. Black babies hold their neck up. They identify shit a lot faster than Caucasian babies. They walk faster, talk faster. They get a lot of their shit done within a year. You feel me? Then all of a sudden we go to kindergarten together. What the fuck happens? It stops. You feel me? And I get into that part when I discuss the school to prison pipeline a little bit later, but there's still levels to the shit. We're still only in the civil rights era. Genocide. This is the agenda is genocide. Not just targeting the masculine essence. It's killed black people altogether. You feel what I'm saying? So we integrated into the system. Not only integrated, they took our businesses. We integrated from having ownership to being employees. We're the greatest employees. We work for these motherfuckers and we don't own our own shit. What Jay-Z say in the 90s, in Reasonable Doubt, he said, we got a sports and entertainment. Because we've been entertaining these motherfuckers for a long time. And that's where we find comfort. As long as we can appeal to them, we're good. As long as we can make them feel comfortable by entertaining them, everything is fine. You feel what I'm saying? So Martin Luther King even said the shit. He said, I feared that I'm integrating my people into a burning house. It's too late. It was too late for you. The bill and all of that shit was already signed. So while everybody clapped it up, he was having regret within himself. He's like, I think I fucked up. I know I fucked up. He knew it. And it was when he finally realized it that they shot him, they killed him. Because he served his purpose. You feel me? He served his purpose. Teach them to be passive niggas. Like, don't. And that's what all of our civil rights leaders do. That's what all of our quote unquote leading blacks do. They shut us the fuck up. There's no retribution. There's no seeking revenge. There's none of that shit. It's, we need to come together and pray and extend our hands in love. That's corny bullshit. They're not loving you. Love don't erase hate, because love and hate is the same shit. You feel what I mean? But we're the ones who have not realized that shit. They do. But then they understand our souls too, because they're racist. They perfected the full race, the mind, body, and the soul complex. They understand it all. So they know how our souls work better than we do. That's why they control our souls. People be thinking, people be thinking, celebrities sell their soul to the devil because they get rich. Like, well, you just give yours up freely. At least put a price on your shit. If you're going to give it up either way, if you're in this system, at least put a price on your shit. That's what they did. You feel me? But that's not here nor there. I'm not telling nobody to sell their soul, you know what I mean? None of that shit. But the point that I'm making is that from the integration, now we assimilate into their culture. Now mind you, the Civil Rights Act was signed in the 60s. 1964, I want to say. Yeah, because MLK died in 68. So 1964, right? Now watch. This shit literally is going to happen. This is why I say within the next 10 years, it's going to be very, very pivotal. How do we overcome? Do we overcome in these next 10 years? If this next 10 years doesn't work, we die. We die. I'm not trying to be morbid. I want to be logical here. Because this shit literally happens in 10-year brackets. No bullshit. You feel what I mean? I'm going to show you each era. The 70s, show you the 80s, show you the 90s, show you the 2000s, the 2010s. We're in the 2020s now. This is it. This is the fight. If we don't make it through these next 10 years, that's it. The game's over. There is no reset button. There is no pulling the cartridge out, blowing it, and starting over. No, this is it. This is the last 10-year pocket that we have. If we don't fix this shit now, we go extinct. We die. We die. But I'm gonna get back on track. So we had the civil rights movement. We integrated. That was phase one. feel me? They already put the plans in motion for all of the bullshit. You know what I mean? We got the plan. Eugenics. This is how we're going to make it work. So now we're going to do the civil rights movement. The first thing we have to do is make sure that they're not willing to fight. There's no threat. So we're not going to push anybody like Malcolm X. We're going to push somebody like Martin Luther King to make them docile, to make them passive, collectively. The ones who get along, we shoot them, we kill them, right? But the ones who we can make passive, we can use them. We can get longevity out of these motherfuckers, the passive ones, because they're going to give us their children. They're going to raise their children to assimilate to us. That's what the integration was about, assimilation. That's one of the first phases of killing these motherfuckers. We're going to kill these niggas by assimilating with them. We don't like the niggas. We hate them. But at the same time, if we assimilate to them, we can destroy them a lot better. We can destroy them without them knowing they're being destroyed. You feel what I mean? So that's the 60s, right? So now we go into the 70s, you know. Huey Newton and the Black Panthers. They said, you know what? We need to do something about this shit. We need to do something about this. So we're going to protect ourselves. We're going to set up community. They started to see what was happening. Now, mind you, how in the fuck can the Black Panthers become a terrorist organization when they wanted to do nothing but protect their people? So if I am a terrorist organization for protecting my people, that means I'm at war with who's calling me a terrorist. Naturally. You feel what I'm saying? We feed into that. Oh, well, they were this. Now, granted, a lot of the 70s era civil rights, a lot of them were still misogynistic. They were fucked up. I'm not going to deny that shit. But it's a part of the assimilated culture. We stopped valuing our women. We didn't give a fuck. We started operating from the perspective of our women internally. Now, I mean, like, because outside of the home, it's like, yo, these people pro-black, they love the people and all of that shit, but we're Caucasian in mentality. We hated women. That's the first, like, people be thinking it was nah, you got to make them hate the women. They're not going to want to procreate. And if they do procreate, they're going to leave the extensions of the women they create. You feel me? Art imitates reality. Papa Was a Rolling Stone was a written classic simply because it imitated reality. I'm having all these babies and I'm leaving the extensions of you. Not the extensions of me. These are extensions of you. These are your kids. You feel me? It's a part of the genocide. You feel me? So the 60s, they signed the integration in. Okay, now let's assimilate with these let's bring these motherfuckers in. Now when we bring them in, we're going to bring them into our schools. Our kids are now going to fuck with them. Our kids are going to fuck with their kids and make their kids just get along. You know, you got to get along with us. So that means you got to accept your inferiority. Bitch, I'm not inferior to you. I'm not even like, this is not even like, I can't be inferior to you if I have dominant genetics. Bitch, the world is mine. Nature says I'm the greater one. You feel me? You don't believe me? Like, look at sports. Anabolic steroids weren't banned until black people started using them. Why? Because the melanin in you enhances that shit. You feel what I'm saying? We can go back a little bit further and look at how Jesse Owens took the Olympics. White people were running track at that time. Jesse Williams came and took it. I ain't seen a white person on the Olympic track team since then. It's always been us. We don't pay attention to that shit. They know. Sports and entertainment, though. But anywho, so we got the integration and we're integrated. Now we're in their schools and shit. We're in their systems and everything. Phase 1 is starting. You feel what I'm saying? Phase 2, kill the masculine essence. Separate. Phase 2 is kill the home. That occurred mainly in the 70s. Start to kill the home. You feel what I'm saying? Start to kill the home. Make sure that the man isn't there, and make sure that if the woman is there, she can't fend for herself. You dig me? She can't fend for herself. So where the Black Panthers were pivotal, they started to spread. You feel me? And that's when it became a problem. It's like, whoa, hold up. Y'all doing what? We need to stop this shit. We need to neutralize this shit. So they killed the Panthers. Like, I respect the new Panthers for trying, but they can never be what the old Panthers were because it was already set in motion. It was already stopped. So they already know how to contain it. They already know how to contain it. The fear is already instilled. Like, don't unite. Don't unite. Don't. We're going to kill you. We have the military. You don't. You don't. Your military is killing itself. Our military is Bloods, Crips, Vice Lords, the GDs and shit. Our military is killing itself. You feel what I'm saying? Where they got the Army, the Navy, the Marines, the Coast Guard and shit. We got Bloods, Crips, GDs, Vice Lords. We got gangsters. But it's self-hatred. So they're going to kill themselves. They don't know who they're warring with. Because their mentality is assimilated into the Caucasoid structure. I hate me. So I'm going to kill me. Genocide is a form of suicide. Genocide is the collective suicide. You dig me? So that's the 70s era. Your military, I ain't worried about your military. Fuck your military. Your military is gonna kill itself. You feel me? Your military is gonna kill itself. And we got the police too. Fuck y'all. You feel me? And it's the police that have to come in. They started to go against the Panthers. Because the Panthers started fighting back. That was our first military. The Panthers. You feel me? And so that was the 70s era. They disbanded that. They broke it up. You feel me? And then they reinstituted more pacifism. More cowardice. More of the civil rights people who weren't going to do anything. The Reverends. The Reverends. I ain't going to give their names no credence because, they corny to me. But it's the Reverends. All right? So that's the 70s. That's that 70s era. We had music. We had the Earth, Wind, and Fires. We had those people putting in trying to uplift the people. Uplift the people. Let's give them music, give them hope. Right? Then they're like, damn, they still ain't dying. They're not dying yet. Okay. What else can we do? All right. So now we're starting to see, okay, the drug game. They're dabbling in the drugs, prostitution, shit, whatever the case may be. So now let's start to infuse more, different diseases and other things like that can really fuck them up more. We're gonna kill them. Like, that's the thing. We're gonna kill them. But then it started to ramp up because they started to see their timestamp. Like I said, in the eugenics thing, they gave themselves about 150, 160 years. I'll give them 200 tops at the time. This was the early 1900s. Their time is up. So they're like, we got to do this shit within a timely fashion to secure our win. You feel me? So now at the 70s, you had the Panthers. They disbanded the Panthers and then don't unite. Why? I mean, still that fear. When you unite against us, we kill you all. Took the fight out of them. Took the fight out of the people. Not just the black man, it's the people. You dig what I mean? It's the people. And then you have and like even in the 70s, we started wearing fros. You feel me? Onks and shit. You know what I mean? Like, we was really on some other shit. We was united. We wasn't putting any chemicals into our bodies unnecessarily like the shit we doing now. So it was all right. We got them. TV wasn't what it was. The media wasn't what it was as it is now. It was still heavy, but it wasn't as now. Like, the propaganda couldn't be expressed in real time within the next 3 seconds. Every 3 seconds, you get some propaganda about how you ain't shit. You feel what I mean? So from the 70s, that was one phase. Now we have, that was more of the leader destruction. To shift, this is who your leaders need to be. The people in the suit and ties who are going to the schools and doing all of the shit. This is who we need your leaders to be. We don't want your leaders to be the aggressive guys, the guys who are going to stand up to us. They're going to be terrorists. We don't even want you. And in our schools, we're going to teach you what terrorism is. We're going to teach you these things. We're going to embed these things within you. So when we make the association that your people were terrorists, you're going to have those people. If your parents don't give you that information, if your parents don't study the shit, if you don't have the knowledge, you're going to know what we want you to know. This is why even today, every Black History Month, we learn about Martin Luther King, we learn about Rosa Parks, and we learn about slavery. We learn about these same fucking concepts every fucking year. The reason why is because we're reaffirming. You don't want to be like these other people because these are the ones we like. And, in that we're trying to assimilate, so many people, we do this to our kids and we do this to our people because we're being taught by our enemy. We've already assimilated into their culture. You feel what I'm saying? That's the 70s. The 80s was, okay, we are going to kill them. This the decade we're killing them. But again, masculine essence started reviving in the 70s, and people really don't, like, it's there. Because now when I go back and talk about the cosmological energies and shit, we were starting to come to the end of the Pisces age, which was coming to the beginning of the Aquarius age. Age of Aquarius is about thought. Masculinity had no choice but to start resurfacing itself as the spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment of the essence of analysis and deconstruction. So now when we're looking at the 80s, the crack era, Reaganomics, the crack game, like that's when it started. We're going to create crack, because crack as a whole, the chemical composition of crack, when it binds to melanin, it takes melanin to a whole nother level. It binds to it, and melanin enhances it and multiplies it. That was what was supposed to kill us. That was what was supposed to take us the fuck out. You feel what I mean? That was the plan. If we can put crack in these motherfuckers and they already have the melanin component, it's going to fuck them up. And it did. It fucked us up bad. Bad. Horrible. But it didn't kill us. Because when masculinity kicked in and said, yo, this shit is addicting. Snowfall. Snowfall is one of my favorite shows. Franklin Saint knew, yo, this is a different high. It's permanent. They get stuck to it. He didn't know it was going to damage his people like that. You feel what I'm saying? But that's what they use as the drug dealer. Like, yo, I'm your pusher, man. Like, I got it. Push that shit. You feel me? Because the pusher man in the 70s, that was that negative side. The drug dealers, like, yo, the heroin and all of that shit, it's cool, but now we got something that we want y'all to push that's different. So now you got that hustler mentality. You got the drug dealer. You feel what I'm saying? You got the drug dealer on point. Now we're going to put crack into the communities. The drug dealer realized, yo, okay, this is what it does to my people. This is a heavy addiction. You need this. You need this. The other side came on. So the 80s didn't work. The crack epidemic didn't work. It didn't kill us. It didn't kill us. Instead, it created entrepreneurs. It created the drug dealers. It created the heavy entrepreneurs and the drug dealers. Again, the agenda is the genocide of the people. Okay? So the 80s, we had the crack epidemic. It's like, oh shit, that's not killing them. They're selling the shit now. They're not using it anymore. They're selling it. And not only that, it's selling to us. That's another point, because when we look at the backside of it, it always backfires, because they cannot do to us what cannot happen to them. And it happens to them because they follow us. We set the tone for whatever it is they fucking do. So it's like you have that. When I was playing 007, I think it's Tomorrow Never Dies on Nintendo 64. I don't know why I remember this one mission, but there was one mission where you had to defuse a bomb, and there's two parallel bars. One was red, one was blue. The blue bar went up real fast, the red bar went up slow. And you had to tap the button fast enough for the red one to rise and the blue one to rise, but you gotta let, as the red one rose, it also fell slow, but you have to let the blue one die and keep it going. Because if the blue one hit the top before the red one did, the bomb will blow up. So that's the same principle that I see that they're going through right now. We have to kill y'all before it kills us. How the fuck are we gonna do that? This shit is gonna be hard. Because we gotta move efficient enough to take y'all out before y'all can influence us to do the shit too. You feel what I mean? It didn't work. It didn't work because they became crackheads too. You feel me? We started selling it to, I ain't gonna sell, my people ain't got no money. I'm gonna go to these other neighborhoods. So now we segue into the 90s and we create what? The war on drugs. The war on drugs. Now we can get this black man out of this fucking community, period. You feel me? The late 80s, early 90s, that time frame, that pocket was about, okay, when we're going to try to kill them this way, because we know what crack is going to do. The mothers are going to be like, the crack babies, man, they suffered. They suffered. You dig what I mean? And we look at the base head mamas and, you know what I'm saying, the daddies, it's like, it's different. It was different. You feel what I mean? But when we, like, towards the tail end of that, we started selling the shit. We started selling the shit. It was like, oh, no, fuck that. I'm not buying, I'm not smoking this shit. I ain't about to be no smoker no more. My people ain't about to be smokers. We about to sell this shit, bro. Started becoming entrepreneurs and millionaires. So it's like, damn, how the fuck can it's not working now? They flipped it on us. The spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment, the essence of analysis and deconstructing kicked in once again, and masculinity started to surface and peek its head out. Okay, so now that's the battle. Masculinity's coming. Like I say, it was always obsolete, and we had to infuse toxic femininity, but now masculinity is coming as the essence. It's not coming as manliness. It's coming as the essence. Analysis and deconstruction. That's why everything they do, we flip. We flip it into our favor. You feel me? So now we have the end of the 80s. Crack epidemic. Now we go into the 90s. Like, you don't think it's sequential that after the crack epidemic, you have the war on drugs. They got a war on drugs so the police can bother me. You feel what I'm saying? So we flip from using to selling. You feel me? This is why, if you look at, we don't sell cocaine. We ain't never really sell powder. We sell crack. You feel me? We sell crack. That's why crack gets more time than cocaine does. Because that's not what y'all selling. We like, okay, now we can motherfucking put the men in prison, right? Transitioning from the 80s, welfare, that shit started to go hand in hand. You feel what I'm saying? Now we have now let's add this stipulation. You can only get welfare if there's no man in the home. Okay. How can I ensure that this man is not in the home? I'm gonna continue to create the poverty-stricken conditions for you. You're not gonna have the poverty-stricken conditions were established with the integration. They took our businesses. Now you gotta come to me for the job. And I can say no. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna sell drugs. You feel what I'm saying? You're gonna sell drugs. I hear older heads, well, the man can get a job, whatever the case. The system ain't meant for that. This is genocide. This is how you have to do it. Because now when I put you in a state of poverty, you now have to survive. You're going to survive the best way you know how. Robbing, stealing, and killing. You got to go through the underworld to get what you need. Right? So now, with the war on drugs, with the mandatory minimums and all of that other shit that was put in place in the 90s, Clinton administration, Reaganomics, Clinton administration. Wow, these names is potent and powerful as fuck. But anyway, we're trying to put that icing on the cake. You feel what I'm saying? So now we got the women on welfare. Take your man out of the home. We're going to ensure that he's out of the home. For real, for real. We're going to, the more babies you have, right? The more babies you have. And this was one of the moments in which the procreation boomed because of the more babies you have, the more you can be on welfare. But at the same time, you're a base head. You're creating crack babies. I already know what crack does to melanin. So I know what it's going to do to your children. You feel me? You're not going to be able to raise them properly. That's where we come in. Social services, all of these different things. Those things boomed because now we're taking your children out of the home and now we're going to scatter them apart. You feel what I'm saying? The abandonment, the disconnection from the parental source and all of that shit. We're going to create envy. We're going to create evil children. We're going to create these monsters. Now, I'm not calling my people monsters. I'm speaking from that perspective of the reality of what we're dealing with. You feel what I'm saying? We're going to create these people who have a resentment towards their parents, who walk around with a chip on their shoulder, who feel abandoned, who feel unloved because they're bouncing around from foster home to foster home. The system don't give a fuck about them. You feel what I'm saying? When the welfare people come down to check on everything, it's like, yeah, this is how you living. Okay, we got to take your kids. To stay on welfare, because now you fucked up. The crack has already fucked you up so bad you don't have the functioning skills to go work a job because you need that fix. So I have to stay on welfare. So what do? I create more babies. Create more babies. You'll get a check for 18 years for the babies you have. I'm securing a bag just by having babies. Okay, my rent, $35. Shit like that. You feel what I'm saying? So now you got the war on drugs. I keep going back and forth, but I'm going to stay on the war on drugs this time. So now you got the war on drugs, mandatory minimums and shit. Oh, they're not smoking anymore. They're selling the shit. Okay, bam. Hard time. Boop. So who's the guys that are really going to sell it between 18 and 25? Oh, these are the people that can actually make the change in their community. Let's take them out. Let's take them off this motherfucker. Not only that, now in the 90s too, also now we're going to push college. Now, I'm not saying college is a bad thing. I'm never saying that shit. But now college is the aspect that now puts the icing on the assimilation cake. Because now you're going to go to college, you're going to go so high up in academia that you're not even going to see your own people there anymore. Who are you going to see? Us. You're going to want to fuck with us. You know, yeah, it'll take a couple generations for us to dilute your genetics over time. But at the same time, it's going to be easy to do that. Because you come from the hood, you come from wherever it is that you come from, you go to your colleges and everything like that. You're not going to see your people. So you now fit into the mold and you assimilate into that culture. You feel what I'm saying? You assimilate into that culture. So we have the war on drugs, have the 90s movement. In addition to that, in that time frame, the fathers are taken out home to where it started to become automatic a lot more. Don't get me wrong. In the 70s, 60s, like there was absent fathers, but it started becoming prevalent because now, in addition to that, the women, in addition to the men getting hit to, okay, I'm gonna sell crack instead of smoking. I don't smoke crack, motherfucker. I sell it. I don't know why I feel like saying that. But in addition to that part, you had the women develop into the strong, independent black woman. I don't need a man. I don't need a man. You feel me? That shit started to play its role. So now the black women, early 90s and shit, they're going to school more. They're getting more degrees. They're doing all of these things with absent fathers because now they're like, yo, I'm going to take care of my children. It's for them, it's not just I have to, it's I'm going to take care of my children. So they're going to go to the schools. They're going to go to schools, get the education, everything like that. The father's gone. Who's raising the babies? Because a lot of those women were coming out of poverty-stricken environments. They didn't have the funds to do shit, so the babies are raising themselves. They're developing into latchkey kids. They're developing into kids who have the responsibility to take care of themselves and their younger siblings at 6 and 7 years old, 8, 9 years old. 8, 9 years old, they're operating as parents. They learn how to cook, they learn how to clean, they learn how to do everything for themselves. There's no connection there. There's no parenting. There's no parenting whatsoever. You feel what I'm saying? So again, this is the 90s, right? They're getting close. They're like, yo, we almost got them. What can we do now? So now around the 90s also, it's like, okay, cool. We taking the men out of the home because they want to sell drugs because that's all they have because they can't find jobs. Okay. We build prisons by third grade. School to prison pipeline. Let's make it happen. You feel what I'm saying? By third grade, they understand like in order to learn, you have to be in an emotional space. You have to be in a calmed emotional space. Kids are born in sympathetic mode, which is fight or flight response. You can't learn in fight or flight response. You can only learn in parasympathetic mode, which is rest and digest, because when the information comes in, it has to digest in the mind. You feel what I'm saying? We're in sympathetic mode, survival, gunshots outside of our houses, all of that shit. We're operating from a state of survival all the time. You dig what I'm saying? This is the 90s. So by the 2000s, those 90s babies, they're adults. They're teenage adults. They're preteen adults. These babies are 12, 11 years old, running whole households by themselves. Locking the doors, cleaning up, doing everything, because the parents are working. Daddy's gone. Mama's working about 2 or 3 jobs at a time. And going to school. They don't see their kids. And their kids are, operate. So as a kid thinking, okay, I'm an adult. Like now the babies are being had at early ages. You got to drop out and shit, whatever the case may be. But look, the point is that the school to prison pipeline started a lot heavier in that time frame because from the war on drugs to this, and now we go back into the music. At one point, in the early 80s, they didn't want NWA talking about drugs and fucking the police, saying fuck the police and all of that shit. They didn't want that at first. But then it became a point where it was like, oh, this shit makes them do this shit. The music they listen to makes them do this shit. So all of our music then became about love and connection to about drugs, fucking, and partying. That's not an accident. That's not an accident. That's what the movie, that's what the music was about. Gangster shit. You feel what I'm saying? And now if you look at like, it's manifested itself like the R&B music has no message to it. Has no, like, it's all about sex. The rap music is all about killing. Genocide. Unprotected sex, willy-nilly, like genocide. The agenda is genocide. It's not to kill masculinity. Hey, huddle up, broskies, because it's time to elevate. The secret to evolving masculinity is to define it, understand it, then apply it. The So Frail series defines masculinity as the spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment of the essence of analysis and deconstruction. From this definition, I explain how masculinity is not just the hat that we wear, but it's the essence that we must exude through application. If you enjoy the So Frail conversations, why not read the books that inspire them? Visit IamJustSeen.com right now to add the So Frail series to your library to get a better understanding of what masculinity really is. I promise. After reading So Frail, you will never look at masculinity the same again. You feel me? It's fucking genocide. So now, that's the 90s. So 2000s, it began to really, so you had the school to prison pipeline. They set that shit up by third grade test. They're building prisons off a third grade test score so they know what the kids are going to be. Right? I know this. I know that you don't have the capacity to think and learn correctly because your mind is not in a positive state to do that. I'm going to strip your emotional availability from you. I'm going to strip your ability to have emotion. Right? I'm going to strip your mentality to be able to learn. You feel what I'm saying? In a system that doesn't teach you to learn according to your essence. Boys can't learn through femininity. We have to learn through masculinity, which is analysis and deconstruction. But we're learning to use synthesis and construction, which is memorization. We can't learn that way. So by third grade, we've already given up. Third grade, we checked out. 16 years old, we give up. We drop out. Okay? They create the criminals. School to prison pipeline creates the criminals to secure the prison staying open. You feel me? So now we segue into 2000 and you have the No Child Left Behind Act. This is the Bush administration. We go from Clinton to Bush. Okay? No Child Left Behind Act. All right? In the No Child Left Behind Act, what happened is you would just get passed through. And I don't mean people, because I've seen people still fail and get retained and everything like that. However, it's like I've noticed the margin of grades changed. I noticed that if a person got a 0, you didn't give them a 0. You gave them a 60 or some shit. Like that's the lowest grade that they can get. You dig what I mean? That's the lowest grade they can get. And in that being the lowest grade that they can get, they still have the propensity to be pushed forward if they've done enough bare minimum work. They don't have to learn anything. You feel what I'm saying? So the shit that you're supposed to compound on, you're just being skated through. You're just being skated through. It's more likely to create a criminal. It's more likely to create somebody who can fit within the school to prison pipeline. Effortlessly. You feel what I'm saying? Bush administration. All right. So now we go and we come into the Obama era. This is the era that fucked this all up. And I'm going to say it fucked us up because this is when it was like, nothing's wrong. If you caught any inkling of this shit being, if you caught any inkling of this shit, of what we were doing to y'all, what we could have been doing to y'all, we about to erase it with the Obama administration. Yes, we can. You're going to get you a black president. We're going to get you a black president. This is the greatest pacification that could happen. We're going to give you a black president. You dig what I mean? We're going to see if we really have that control over y'all. Got the black president. Not a single black issue was addressed. Trayvon Martin, murdered under the Obama administration. Tamir Rice, murdered under the Obama administration. Sandra Bland, murdered under the Obama administration. Corinne Gaines, murdered under the Obama administration. Mike Brown, murdered under the Obama administration. And you know what? The only thing that they wanted to do was take guns away from black people. Because they knew what the next phase was going to be, what they were coming into on the next phase. They knew this shit. They knew exactly what was going to happen. So we're going to make sure that these motherfuckers, within the Obama administration, we get Black Lives Matter. We get hands up, don't shoot. We get I can't breathe. Do you know how many motherfucking passive affirmations those are? We're going to see if they're going to fight. Nah, they ain't going to fight. Then we're going to get Obama on TV and make him cry. We got to give up the guns. You feel me? The white kids come shoot up the church and they pray harder. This was a test. This was a test to see, okay, we're on the last leg. We can make this shit pop for real. We can do this now. We got them. We got them. You know why it was so important? Because when it goes back to the cosmological aspect, the Aquarian age kicked in 2012. Obama's second term started the Aquarian age. This is not no speculative shit. The Mayans, the quote unquote Mayans, predicted the world was going to end in 2012. Motherfuckers been banking on that shit. They knew it was coming to an end. In 1999, that's when they thought it was going to happen, because they thought it was an exact 2,000-year time frame. Because they changed the scope of the time with the Gregorian calendars and all that shit. They changed this shit for a reason, but they kept the time brackets the same. Because they knew, okay, when this shit happens, we got to see. Because we know that this essence is going to come back, because the power of thought has to come back. Belief is done. Pisces age is done. We're in the Aquarian age now. Belief is done. Everything's going to be knowledge. But we have to test the waters to see, are these motherfuckers really, is it really resurging? Is it coming back? Or how is it going to look? Because we have to make sure the system is set in motion for when it does come back, we can make it look crazy. We can make the masculine essence look crazy as fuck. You feel what I'm saying? So we have that. So 2012, because they thought it was 2000. 1999, they thought the world was going to come, at the ball drop, computers were going to crash, everything was going crazy, because they hyped that up for the people to create that illusion. How are the people going to respond? So in the year 2000, oh, no, this isn't the age. The world does end, but it didn't end. You feel what I'm saying? The age the world was in was over. The Mayans predicted in 2012, the world's going to end. The age of Pisces was going to end. Even the Bible tells you that the age of Pisces was going to be the end of it, and there was going to segue into the age of Aquarius. And I want to say it's like Luke chapter 22 or something like that. Whatever the case may be, Jesus is talking to, I think it's Peter. But Peter's asking him, when are you coming back? In essence. So Jesus lets him know, I'm not coming. But what he does is this. He says, and that's a very important point. This is why Jesus was a fisher of men. This is why Jesus practiced love and his thing was love and belief. Everything was about, you just got to have belief. He who believeth shall get into the kingdom of heaven or whatever. But you have to believe, because his birth, his time block marked the age of Pisces. That's why he was a fisher of men. That's why the 12 disciples were all fishermen, and they all stayed in the motherfucking water, because they represented the Pisces. This is why when you're driving down the road and you see the little Jesus placard, what do you see it inside of? A fish, because it's the age of Pisces. You feel what I'm saying? This is why when I talk about religion, I tell y'all that it's 3 points to religion: the mythology, the ritual, and the allegory. The allegory will tell you that it's about astrology, and it's going to tell you that in the New Testament of the Bible represents the Pisces age. This is why they say there's a new covenant. You feel what I'm saying? There's a new covenant in that, because the age of Pisces means that if you believe all this shit, like, it was all allegorical. The previous timestamp, which is the Old Testament, was the fucking Aryan age. It was the age of Aries. This is why there was so much war involved in the First Testament of the Bible, but then there's no more wars in the New Testament. How do you go from being like almost every chapter in the Old Testament, he was going to war, put to the sword all men, women, children, and cattle. Then all of a sudden, now you're coming into everybody like, oh, we're in the new covenant. The Old Testament, it doesn't matter. Like, that's why people are able to say that, because they're right. The age of Aries is done. It's been done. We're in the age of Pisces. Well, we were. Now we're in the age of Aquarius, but we were in the age of Pisces. But in the Bible, as Jesus is talking, he tells them, he says, and I got to say, it's got to be in Luke 22. But he says, there's going to be someone to segue you into the house, into the new house. And he's going to look for the man who's holding the gourd or the pitcher, depending on which verse you're reading and which translation you're coming into. The symbol of Aquarius is a man holding a gourd, holding a pitcher. That's not coincidental, because that's when you're coming into the new age. It's right in time. Everything is right on time. But we got to make sure that there's no masculinity here first. Obama administration is going to test that to see if there's any masculinity within the black essence, because that's going to be what changes everything. Okay. So 2012, shit popped off. Aquarian age was in effect. So now we have to start killing people that are going to be procreating and creating the babies. And we have to instill fear within them who are going to be creating the babies born of the Aquarian age. Because every child born of the Aquarian age cannot believe in shit. They will not believe in shit. They will challenge everything. It started with the late 80s and the early 90s babies. From another astrological perspective, most people born between 1983 and 1995 have Pisces and Scorpio in their natal chart. This is major transformative energy because they are responsible. We are responsible for transforming the next 2,000 years of this world. You feel what I'm saying? When we want to talk about the stars and the moon and shit, we really got to talk about the shit in the reality. It's not just for finding your mate. They know your natal chart better. They created the timestamp. They got your birth certificate too, so they know who has power and who don't. They know who they need to focus on and who they don't. And they understand the reality that we're in. So now we got, like I said, we got the Obama administration, which is bullshit. Oh, we got a black president. We'll never have, yes. In the Obama administration, they was testing the waters. Damn, did these niggas wake up? Or are they going to wake up? This will be the moment that they wake up if they do. We didn't. Shit got worse for us. Granted, there was always police brutality. There was always but the manner in which it was shown, and then the blatant disrespect, how all of these people kept getting off. It was to fuck with your mentality. It was to fuck with your soul and your psychology. Because if your soul is fucked up, that masculine essence ain't coming in. It ain't coming in. But we know it's coming. We know masculinity is going to resurface in the Aquarian age. There's no fucking way around it. The spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment of the essence of analysis and deconstruction will emerge. So now we're going to switch the music. We're going to switch from them selling drugs to using them. This shit started in the 2000 era. The very rappers that were once dope boys and selling it started popping pills. They started using the drug. They started sipping lean. Who is their target audience? Who sips lean now? The kids born after 1995. This shit is a plan. So it's not about just the targeted masculinity. It's about the genocide of black people. That's the agenda. You feel what I'm saying? So now we're looking at the Obama administration. Everybody talking about go vote and shit. Okay, the Obama, nah. He did the exact same shit all of the other presidents do, but all the other presidents did, but he got a pass because he was black. To us, because they needed to see, are they really gonna wake up? Are they really gonna change? Are they really gonna fight us this time? You feel what I'm saying? We know that it's coming. It's impending. Like there's no way around that shit. We seen who was gonna be the sparks and the catalyst for the shit early. You feel me? The Tupacs. And like, we seen that shit. So now we're going to change the mainstream music and we're going to we seen all of this shit playing out. Now you got the Obama administration. Okay. You got the Obama administration and a lot of this negative shit started happening. Our people started dying, started going through, and it was publicized a lot more with blatant disrespect. Blatant disrespect. Cops getting paid leave. The shit was done strategically. No black cop killed any black people for a reason. Then the black cops that killed white people for the exact same shit got fired, got charged. It wasn't a game. It wasn't a game. So after the Obama administration, within the Obama administration, that's when you started to see the rise. This is the point where people say, okay, this is the agenda. They're promoting homosexuality. Nah, they're not promoting homosexuality. They're creating homosexuality. And they started to do this shit early with vaccines. They started to do it with the food. They started to do it with everything that we started eating. This is biological warfare. They changed our composition, bro. That's why when you see kids that are like 12 and 13 years old now, and it's like, yo, I want to be a woman now. I'm like, yo, this shit was working. Atrazine is a major chemical component that literally changes the genders in frogs. Within their lifetime, atrazine changes the genders in frogs. So now look at the vaccines. You feel me? The amount of vaccines babies got to get now is significantly greater than when I was a kid. When I seen the list, I was like, man, y'all better not put that shit in your babies. Because It's not just about, pushing it. Oh, we're going to why do you think? So the other day, there was a Sesame Street thing where he had a gay guy on Sesame Street, but he was black. Could have put a gay white dude up there too and had him dressed the same way. But no, that's not what they're doing. When they're putting the faces on for transgenders and all of that shit, it's us. It's us. You feel me? It's us, because it's like, okay, now we're seeing the agenda on its last branch. This is the last phase of the agenda. This is years in the making, decades in the making, almost a full century. That's why I'm telling you, these next 20 years, these next 10 years are pivotal to the destruction of the demise of us. You feel what I'm saying? Men don't like women, and women don't like men. We've established that. You feel what I'm saying? But all of the shit was created. So it's not about the imagery and showing the shit about, oh, masculinity is, and what is toxic is not masculinity. It's the infused toxic femininity that men have adopted. Masculinity is now resurging and peeking its head out, but masculinity ain't been here. That's not what y'all calling toxic. Y'all calling men using toxic femininity toxic masculinity, and it's not it. You feel what I'm saying? Now the whole gamut, like I see post tweet after all, the straight black man is gonna be, the straight black man is a poison to black. I'm like, yo, we're the poison? We're the poison. The heterosexual, because he's homophobic, he's this, he's that. I'm not afraid of the same. The same what? It's not that. The propaganda is, now I have to make these people accustomed to it. So now we can't get mad because the straight man still wants a woman. So you can't get mad if I don't have any women like me wanting me. Okay, now I'm going to put you guys in this bracket, and now we're going to take your wealth. Because now we know your women don't want you. They've been strong and independent for too long. We set the fucking tone. We made them strong and independent and not want you. And then in that, we've made you emasculated to the point where you cannot, you operate the toxic femininity so much that you have to now assimilate into what will submit to you. You feel me? Our women are willing to submit to you and take your wealth when you die. We take all of that shit. We got you. We got you. So this shit is all cyclic and it's in motion. You feel what I'm saying? So the Obama administration ends, and at the tail end of the Obama administration, that's when homosexuality started to really, I noticed that, even in today's time, I know people that were gay in high school that are straight now. So I'm like, oh, you really want gay. I know people that are gay, that are still gay, but I know people that was like, oh, you were gay, you straight now? When the fuck you? I know you. Okay, whatever. You feel what I'm saying? But that is when that phase kind of started. The musicians, all of that shit, it started to move in that direction. Now it's to the point where it's now we're seeing what we are calling the agenda. This ain't the agenda. These are the final agenda minutes. This shit was already in motion. We know that the essence of masculinity is gone. But we know that it's also coming back, and it started with the Aquarian age. This shit is popping now. It's starting to move. Black men are healing themselves. Nobody's catching that shit. Nobody's catching that shit. Black men are breaking generational traumas in silence, because real G's move in silence. Don't nobody really know what we doing. You feel what I'm saying? I spoke on a panel, and one of the brothers that I was speaking with, he has this thing called the Black Man Healing Circle. You know, they deactivated his page because he had a Black Man Healing Circle. What? They deactivated his Instagram because he had a Black Man Healing Circle. We can't even come together to heal. So what's the real problem? Because that healing aspect goes into the emergence of the analysis and the deconstruction. You feel what I'm saying? I know that this is problematic with me. I know I can't smoke this away. I know I can't drink this away. There's a group of us. There's select energies that are transforming right before their eyes. And now they knew that this was going to happen. They knew it was, but we have to get the collective. So those that are healing, see, the thing about it, when you heal, you start to have that self-love. With love comes correction. So when I collectively start speaking on shit against that I can see, oh, he's transphobic. He's this. Like, a lot of them can't articulate what they're trying to portray. So they're coming off maybe a little harsh to some people. It ain't harsh to me. I say what you feel and feel what you say. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Say it with your chest. You feel me? But in that capacity, they're allowing this shit and they're going through with it because it's like that ability to analyze and deconstruct is gone. Nobody's able to analyze and deconstruct that, yo, this is genocide. We're dying. We're going to die. We're going to die. If we continue to push the transgender narrative, if we continue to push this, like, people keep trying to, like, I hate when I argue with ignorance, but it's like people are trying to tell me, yo, trans women are women. No, they're not. They're men. You're talking about biologically. Well, what is gender anyway? Gender is a reality. It's actually a law of the universe. Well, when it comes to masculinity, who says what is what? The creator, bro. Like, masculinity is the spiritual, mental, physical embodiment of the essence of analysis and deconstruction. Femininity is the spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment of the essence of synthesis and construction. Men are predisposed for masculinity. Women are predisposed for femininity on all three levels. This is not to say that one has to carry one operates without the other, because we both have the both polarities. But as men, we're naturally given this energy and this essence to lead with, and women were naturally given that essence to lead with. But now everybody's trying to, well, there's no, because this is a societal construct. Nah, it's a manipulated construct, because what we're seeing is, again, femininity against toxic femininity. That's what y'all are saying is the societal construct, but toxic femininity is being called masculinity. This is why when they say masculinity is so toxic, what you're dealing with is what's called masculinity. What's called toxic masculinity is really toxic femininity. And the reason why it's, being so targeted is because it's like, it's destructive. But now it's starting to destroy the construct that was used to destroy it. You dig what I mean? So when a toxic feminine man who's actually shifting into construction, it's like, because after you shift to construction, you're going to shift back to the masculine essence. Because now you're starting to wake up and say, oh, wait, I shouldn't be moving this way. I shouldn't be moving this way. So now they're trying to give you all of this quote unquote gender fluidity, and we have multiple genders and all of that shit. Like, shit don't make no sense. Like, a child born with a dick is not a boy. A child born with a vagina is not a girl. They get to choose. I don't feel like, why don't you feel? Because this is another point that's very important, because now we got to get into the biology of this shit. You feel what I'm saying? This is what I'm telling motherfuckers. You got to understand the physical, mental, and spiritual. They know this shit. Hormones are the things that fuck with our emotions. So where men are now thinking, oh, I might be gay because I'm overly emotional. You might just be souped up on estrogen. And you have depleted testosterone levels. Testosterone triggers masculine emotions. Estrogen triggers feminine emotions. There's a synergy between the mind, body, and the soul. The cholesterols, the things you eat, break down to create hormones. The hormones circulate through the body. If all of your cholesterols are feminine based, you're going to operate femininely. Don't make you gay. And if you've eaten, and if your diet, and this is why I say, when motherfuckers be like, yo, you can't go to war if they know what you eat. They know what you eat, therefore they know what processes in your body, therefore they know how you think. They know how your mind works. Because they know what hormones are being dominated in your body. You dig what I'm saying? How is it that men can reach 30 and 40 years old? It's getting a lot lower now. Within the late 20s, men have been classified as having low testosterone. How the fuck do you have low testosterone as a man if the food and shit that you're consuming is not reducing your testosterone levels? You feel what I'm saying? What you're consuming is reducing your testosterone levels, thus affecting your masculine essence from the physical component. Therefore, with the mind, body, and soul connection happening, it's going to affect your mind and your soul as well. The agenda is not the media. trying to convert. Like, it's already in your food. You're already eating shit. This just makes it easier to do. You feel me? Men are developing breasts because the overindulgence of feminine feminine hormones in their bodies. Why do you think our voices aren't as deep as they used to be? Low testosterone levels. Our testosterone levels aren't even where they're supposed to be within our puberty development. So our voices are a lot more high pitched. That's not, you feel me? It's not an accident. That's not an accident. You feel me? So now we get to the final leg of where they're attacking masculinity. They're attacking men who want to stay men. Black men who don't want to deal, like, this shit is mind-boggling to me that people are really having arguments that a man is not sure of himself if he won't date a trans woman. That's a man. The fuck? That's a man. I don't give a fuck what you change. You're a man. But see, that's the thing. This is the point that I'm glad it finally got to. You feel me? Because when they talk about, straight black men are you know what? Honestly, homosexual black men are far more toxic than what they're trying to allow us. Like, because they are in the realm of that shit, it seems like it's okay. You feel what I'm saying? A straight black man is what they're considering toxic, and I've heard straight black men disrespect women, and I've heard homosexual black men disrespect women. Shit's different. It's different. And it's a lot worse coming from the homosexual man. But nobody seems to give a fuck. It's when a straight black man, now granted, disrespect is disrespect. I'm not trying to absolve that point. You feel what I'm saying? Disrespect is disrespect. But the point that I want to get at is how the homosexual black man can do a lot more than the straight black man to the black woman, and it's perfectly fine. You feel what I'm saying? Now, granted, I get, again, it's in the realm because women, I see him as that's my bestie. You feel me? That's my bestie, and he's like one of my girls. He's like one of the girls or whatnot. Let him get mad. Let a homosexual man get mad at a black woman. I promise you, you won't see half the shit you will see from a straight black man responding to her. You won't. Homosexual black men, what they call it, they read them to filth. Nigga. I don't even know if you pay attention to that one sentence. Read her to filth. I've seen homosexual black men slap. I've seen straight black men slap black women. I've seen homosexual black men slap. I've seen it both. The essence is a lot harder from the homosexual. And they want to say like it's us. You feel me? Watch a reunion show of Love and Hip Hop. And you'll see what the fuck I'm talking about. You want to get on and see, you want to see who's really more disrespectful towards the black woman. You want to see who's really a lot more aggressive and angry to her. You want to see who's really the toxic masculine being. This ain't like, I don't give a fuck who says this is transphobic, but I don't give a fuck. You can suck my dick. But look, the point that I'm making is that when it comes to this shit, watch that shit. Watch how the black men interact. Watch with the toxic black men who are heterosexual. Just watch it. Just watch a reunion of Love and Hip Hop. Whatever season you want to fucking watch. And watch how the homosexual men interact with the black women, and watch how the heterosexual men interact with the black woman. It's still disrespect. But the ferocity, the volatility that comes from the homosexual man towards that black woman, whew. You feel me? I've heard insults from homosexual men given to black women that I wouldn't even say if I hated that woman. it's like, damn, you came at her like that? I read that bitch to filth. Ain't that what, that's what they call the shit? That's what they say. Read that bitch to filth. You feel what I'm saying? See, when we hear the straight black man call a woman a bitch, it's like, okay, it's a lot harder because you're straight. Apparently, you know. But yet, this homosexual man can say, bitch, 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 make me rich. He can call her a bitch. He can call her this. He can say whatever he wants. Like, I seen it. I seen it. I seen it with my own too. And nobody says anything. Everybody just laughs. You know? Y'all say yes and shit. Yes, and hold that shit out. Slay, slay. That's what y'all do. Y'all letting them, you know? Y'all letting them do the same shit that a straight black man can't do. And it doesn't, for some reason, it doesn't hit you the same way. But let that motherfucker get mad. That whole I'm still a man shit come out. You feel me? I seen homosexual men beat up women. You feel me? With dresses and tight pants on and everything. No, same shit. That's still a man at the end of the day. Then that's when you want to remind it. That's when you want to remind, like, now y'all want to, like, y'all let them in the sports. Now they whooping your ass. I seen motherfucking UFC fighter, shorty got a skull crush because she got beat up by a transgender woman. She got beat up by a fucking man. That's what happens when you fight men. The fuck? That's not a mystery. That's not a shock. I don't give a fuck what you cut off. Your biology still says otherwise. You feel what I'm saying? It still says otherwise. You dig? And that's the toxic shit that y'all really got to worry about. I don't mind being called a toxic transphobic man. I don't give a fuck. Call me that shit. Let me be that. You know, let me be that. Let me be that toxin. Let me be whatever it is. But pay attention, because now it's going to get to a point where when it's time to do the protecting and the providing, who does it? Who has to do it? Who has to do it? It ain't going to be that, like, who has to do the shit? You feel what I mean? That's the reality. That's the reality of it. So now, like I said, we left the Obama administration. Now we're in MAGA. Make America great again. Do you see how the whole shit played the fuck out? They told you the fucking plan. From eugenics to MAGA, this is the entire agenda. Genocide for black people. Make America great again. We know that it's about racism. We know that it's about reinstilling white supremacy and giving them their, like, we know this. And a lot of these people that were in the start of the agenda are still alive now. They were waiting. They were patient. Look at MAGA. You feel me? Think about the civil rights movement. Everybody's still alive for that. Everybody from the civil rights movement is still alive for the most part, unless you were assassinated. I don't know how y'all forget, like, we study all this history and we can't conceptualize time. The fuck? My grandmother was killed in 2014, my mom's mother. My dad's mother is still alive. You feel what I'm saying? They were born in about the 50s or the 30s, between the 40s and the 50s. Nigga. These motherfuckers are still alive. We're in the 2020. We're in 2020. What, Trump is 70? So that means a motherfucker was born in what, 1950? Nigga. It's not hard. You feel me? But again, this whole shit is full circle. Whether it was going to be Trump as the next president to do the shit, whatever. But that was the stamp. Make America great again. Starting with eugenics. You feel me? That's the agenda. The agenda is genocide. What we're seeing is the final step. What we're seeing is the final leg. We know masculinity is about to spark up. But now we want to make sure that when masculinity arises, the spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment of the essence of analysis and deconstruction, it is in the masculine component. It is in the the person, it is in the being, the vessel, who is predisposed for masculinity, but he ain't gonna be no threat to us. You know, I just seen a post a few days ago where a motherfucker said it was a transgender woman or whatnot that said it's going to be gay, bi, and cis trans men who are going to revive masculinity. That was a tweet, right? It was like, because, and then what it said was, in the tweet, I wish I could find the shit, but I'm in the motherfucking, damn, I can't do it right now. But in the tweet, it said it's going to be cis, straight, and bisexual black men that are going to revive masculinity because they're going to have the intelligence, the patience, or whatever the case may be. And they said you can't do it with brute force. Nobody ever said masculinity was about brute force, but that's what, you know, they're saying. So now, let's take it back to the definition that I defined. Masculinity is a spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment of the essence of analysis and deconstruction. Intelligence is an aspect of analysis and deconstruction. Your intelligence. The three major components of masculinity is intelligence, rationale, and objectivity. They know that this is going to happen because of the Aquarian age. But now we have to embody it, and we have to implant it and impart it and make it a thing for those who are not going to be a threat to our existence. Gay men, they're not a threat to white survival. Trans men, they're not a threat to white survival. Bisexual men, they possibly can be a threat. Who knows? Depends on which side they're on at the time of whatever. But in the cusp of it, they're not going to be a threat. And they have less than 100 years left, or about 100 years left on this planet. They're ensuring their survival. They're ensuring their survival by promoting our genocide. So when we look at the agenda, we're in the final minutes of the shit. This is really just this is the fruit. This is the final piece. That's why I said these next 20 years are critical. These next 10 years are critical. If you pay attention to the timestamps, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, it all happens in 10-year pockets. 10-year pockets. If we don't fix this shit this 10 years, we're done. We're done. Because the masculine essence is going to resurface in men. But if it's resurfacing in men who don't even like women, what's going to happen? It doesn't matter if the divine feminine heals. It doesn't matter if the divine masculine heals. Because if the divine masculine heals and it doesn't want to procreate, it's genocide, bro. It's genocide. It's annihilation. You feel me? They say the straight black man is toxic and everything. It's not. That's not it. That's not it. As men, we've adopted toxic femininity because we assimilate into the toxic culture. Caucasian men have always been toxic feminine. That's why their women have always been beefing with them. Because it's the essences battling each other. Destruction versus construction. That's why these motherfuckers can say, I grab her by the pussy and nobody gives a fuck. You feel me? Nobody gives a fuck because nobody wants to get to the root. But these next 10 years are very, very important. These next 10 years, because the spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment of the essence of analysis and deconstruction is coming back. It is here. Their mission, their goal is to ensure that the straight black man is not who leads with the shit. Because if the straight black man leads with the shit, he's going to create the reality. But here's where they don't fuck up. Here's where they fuck up. And this is why shit is starting to transition. So like, you can't deny nature. You can't deny nature. It's just what it is. So where the essence is coming in and it is now the focal point, the men who are being respected and put into the forefront are, you know, are ones who aren't willing to procreate with women. You know, I want children and all of this shit. And okay, but you know, that, okay, whatever. But that's where the threat is neutralized. The threat is neutralized, but it's not neutralized because in the same capacity, what has emerged is a thought process of polygamy. So what do you think is going to happen when that masculine essence resurfaces in the straight black man and he now has a harem, a plethora of willing divinely feminine black women who are willing to procreate. Where the deficit happens with the ones who don't or can't continue their lineages because they changed their genders, because they don't want to interact with women, whatever the case may be, it's going to be offset with the ones who can procreate in multiple realms. We don't die, we multiply. Because analysis and deconstruction says, now I have to do it. And now, in that same capacity, women are more susceptible to it because their divine feminine is kicking in and it's allowing the masculine to do its thing. Now, what has to happen before polygamy can take place is we have to understand our masculine energy fully in order to do that. You know, you have to be able to do that because you're going to have to be dealing with multiple emotions from the different women and shit like that. And then the children have to all feel equally loved. The family has to be a cohesive unit. So this is the next 10 years are banking. And it's fucked up as it is because we've gotten so used to our religious construct and different things of that nature that we can't see the reality of what we're going to have to do. The next 10 years are going to bank on polygamy versus the alphabet people, or we're gonna go extinct. The agenda, like I said, we're reading the agenda minutes. The shit's done. The shit's already done. This next 10 years is defined like this is MAGA. This is what it means to make America great again. Make sure black people aren't procreating. Make sure black people cannot create anything else. But see, what happens is now we're starting to become more business oriented entrepreneurs. We're teaching our kids themselves like there's a battle. Who's gonna win? There's some of us that have unplugged from the matrix completely. Like, we don't need y'all. We don't need y'all. Y'all need us to live and die. That's some amazing shit. That's power. Not only is it power, that's strength. That's both power and strength in the sense that in order for Caucasian people need us to both live and die. That's powerful, yo. And as long as we continue to promote the shit like it's 12-year-olds, oh, this person knew, like they knew from 3 years old that they were gay. I mean, that's what argument you can believe. I mean, it is what it is. I feel like it's a choice. But those components and that capacity, it's infused in us. Biologically, there's biological warfare. There's a lot of shit that's been playing in. And it started with the eugenics meeting. That was the agenda. That's where the agenda was written. Almost 100 years later, you're seeing the minutes of that agenda. They're finally releasing the minutes to the agenda. So you're thinking it's surface. You're thinking it's this one particular thing. Oh, it's transphobia, homophobia. Black men are homophobic and transphobic. They're toxic. That's not the case, bro. That's not the case. Like I said, it's MAGA. This is how they're gonna make America great again. They knew what they was doing. It wasn't like you got the black woman first. She became the strong, independent black woman who didn't need a man. So it makes sense why she could support that shit. I mean, if that's your choice, I'm honestly and truly, I'm not for or against homosexuality. It's irrelevant to me. That shit don't make me shit, don't make me come. It don't do shit for me in any capacity. So the fuck it's irrelevant to me. It has nothing to do with me. So I don't know why so much energy is being fed into it. I mean, I know why, because it's about genocide, but I don't know why so much energy is being fed into it. Like, let them do them things and shit. Like, I don't know the full gamut of it all. You feel what I'm saying? But what the point is now transitioning into, and the women need to really pay attention to this shit, is that it's deeper than just befriending gay men. These men are replacing you or attempting to replace you. And y'all don't even see the shit. It's so under the radar. Y'all don't even see it. Y'all don't see the shit. You're promoting your genocide too. We're all promoting our very genocide. You feel what I mean? And it's a part of the plan. It's a part of the agenda. This is just the end of the agenda. This is the tail end of the shit. This is their last ditch effort. Crack didn't work. Welfare didn't work. School to prison pipeline didn't work. Well, it's working, but it's starting to stop. Motherfuckers ain't going to jail like they used to. Motherfuckers ain't selling drugs like they used to. You feel me? Times have changed a lot. So a lot of the things have shifted, but a lot of things still remain the same. You know? The strong, independent black woman don't need a man. But she needs affection. She needs care. But she don't want it in a man anymore. So she finds it in a woman. You feel what I'm saying? The man wants to be respected because respect is to men what love is to women. We don't get respect. Literally and truly. Not on any funny shit. We don't get respect for being straight black men. Do you not see the problem with that? Anybody can go at any given time and discredit a straight black man and call him trans. Like, there's no respect there. But what is respected? Do you not see? So when a man is getting respect, respect is to men what love is to women. Just like women would do anything for love just to say they got somebody. Men would do anything for respect just to say, I am respected. You dig me? So now look at what gets us respect. Look what gets us respect nowadays. So again, as I said, masculinity is coming back. It starts with the Aquarian age. It's here. It's here. It's peeking its head through. It's the analysis and deconstruction. Analyzing and deconstruction, I'm saying, yo, we're approaching genocide. Complete annihilation. And don't even see it. So when it emerges, they know that it's coming. But they want those to embody the masculine essence who are no longer a threat. Who no longer will threaten the existence of Caucasian people. And don't forget to take a moment to go get your exclusive merchandise from Just Scenes merch. At Just Scenes, each piece is specifically crafted with positive imagery and symbolism. From the titles and designs to the descriptions, each style gives you something to feel great about. With everything from hoodies and tees to coffee mugs and tote bags, we have something for the entire family. So be sure to get yours today. Find us on Instagram at Just Scenes merch and get your merchandise right now. All right, I'm gonna wrap that up. I hate doing these long ones, but I felt like this one, I just had to let it come out. I just had to let it flow. This one was a long one because I'm not repeating myself after this. I'm not engaging in that shit anymore. Like, honestly, I'm tired of people coming to me asking me, what are my thoughts on this shit? What are my thoughts on, oh, do you think it's really an agenda against masculinity? It's an agenda for the genocide of black people. This is just simply an extension of the shit. This is just a piece under the umbrella. You dig what I'm saying? It's just a piece under the motherfucking umbrella. And we got 10 years to figure this shit out. We got 10 years to figure this shit out. If our birth rates get under 0 within this 10 years, we're done. We're done. There's no way to fix it. They won. It's done. And the earth will be empty later. But this is what it is. This is what it is. The agenda is about the genocide of black people. The attack on masculinity is simply a fragment of that shit. Because we're not looking at anything else. We're not looking at anything else. This is why I wrote those 2 books and why I have the 3rd one coming out. You know, a reality to black male masculinity, toxic femininity. I'm showing exactly what the fuck they're doing to us and what it's going to take for us to reinvigorate this shit. It's deeper. I'm not talking about no motherfucking sexuality in this bitch. That's minuscule to what the fuck I'm talking about. You feel me? This is why I don't like feeding this energy. This is why I don't like talking about this shit and going, because it's irrelevant. This shit is minor. This shit it's not even a factor to what we really need to be focused on. You feel what I mean? We're bickering about the wrong shit. We're arguing about the wrong shit because we don't understand masculine energy anymore. We don't understand feminine energy anymore. We understand a gender role. We understand a gender. Anytime I say femininity, instantly motherfuckers think I'm talking about women. You dig what I mean? Anytime I say masculinity, motherfuckers think I'm talking about men. That was the marketing of it all, people. I knew that if I created a book that said So Frail, a reality to black male masculinity, who would read it? Women. You know why I needed women to read it? Because rationale follows emotionality. Rationale, masculine, follows emotionality, feminine. You dig what I'm saying? The women read it, they're gonna give it to their men. They're gonna give it to men. Men are shit, bro. Almost 85% of the brothers that have read So Frail, the first one, read it because a woman told them to read it, recommended it to them. And why did the women read it? Because they thought I was coming from a point of, masculine energy in on a basic point. So I got to see what it's so frail about. Are you shitting? No, I'm not shitting on black men at all. I'm showing us where our power is. Toxic femininity. A lot of brothers bought that shit because they thought I was talking about women. I know I got a homie who didn't even read it yet. I was like, yeah, toxic femininity, we need to talk about that shit because, these women getting out of hand. I said, boy, you about to be shocked. This is an accountability piece. You feel me? And women have read toxic femininity solely because they thought I was talking about women too. I've had women literally not even read the book and argue with me about how toxic I am because I write a book about toxic femininity. Did you read the shit? Did you? I'm not even going to read that. All right, well, you got to shut the fuck up. I'm not going to argue with you in the shit. Because not once in any of those books that I ever talk about women. Yes, I did. Let me take that back. And So Frail 1, Mama's Baby, Initial Emasculation. That's the one time that I talked about how we're emasculated by our mothers. Other than that, it ain't got shit to do with women. You feel me? Number 3 is going to be something different. Number 3 is going to be the end all be all. You feel me? That information is coming to me now. And it's time to start writing it. But the point is, there's no agenda against masculinity. There's an agenda for the genocide of our people. But the masculine essence, the essence is resurging, you have to kill the manliness. Because manliness is what's going to procreate. Feel me? That's where the threat is. If we can neutralize the threat, we don't have to worry about when the essence comes back in. We kill and neutralize those predisposed to embody this. We ain't got to worry about when it comes in. You feel what I mean? Create the transphobia. Create the homophobia. Create the disrespect towards a straight black man. That shit is mind-boggling. Of course, I'm speaking on straight black men that are in the vein of the shit that I operate under. There are those misogynistic men. There are those, and that's why I wrote those books. To talk to them. Like, yo, we need to change this shit. You feel me? But in the vein of what it is, that essence is resurging and it's coming back and it's here. But if straight black men aren't the ones leading with it, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? We kill ourselves. We die. We're gonna go extinct. Caucasians are already on the endangered species list. They're trying to put us up there with them. Like, people be thinking I'm being an asshole when I say that shit. When you have a negative birth rate, a 0 birth rate for the last 6 years, that's endangered species. You're dying more than you're creating. In nature, we can understand that shit. We can get on National Geographic and be like, oh, the jaguar is on the endangered species list because they're dying and they're being killed more than they're able to make babies. The fuck, you don't think humans go through that shit too? Because the motherfucking giving the story is telling you, oh, we're the majority still. How the fuck are you the majority on the endangered species list and you don't even have dominant genetics? Think about that shit. So now they got us all believing we're minorities. All of this shit. You can't be the minority with dominant genetics. Know why? Because at will, you can create the majority when you want to. That's power. That's what race is about. The competition between genetics. We winning. They got to cheat to win. The healthcare system. This is why when our women go and are delivering babies, they don't take their pain and shit seriously. They're not trying to. They're not trying to. Because if you die in this hospital, your baby dies. Because it needs its mother for at least the first 6 years of its life. Even if it lives, it can only exist because it has that disconnect from its mother. You dig? This shit ain't. But again, like I said, the reason they have a battle. That's why I say it's 10 years. Because they have a battle. Because we influence them. What we do, they do. We pop pills, they pop pills. Like, they're becoming like the opioid cry. All of that shit it's reverberation for all of the shit that they've done. So now they're trying to finish everything off before this reality can manifest itself. You feel me? They're willing to sacrifice their own. A select few of their own, because, casualties of war. But the true dynamic of it all is that when it's all said and done, who's going to reign supreme over these next 10 years? Do we die or do they die? I know that seems like, oh, why are you talking like that? Because y'all don't see the shit. And a lot of us refuse to see the shit. Because we're so busy caught up on some mundane shit. But this is a reality and this is what's happening, my people. Do you feel what I'm saying? This is the reality and this is what is happening. Masculinity is back. It is here. It is coming back. It started with the Aquarian age. The spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment of the essence of analysis and deconstruction. You dig me? Who's going to hold it? Who's going to wield it? Because whoever wields it is going to set the tone and make the next 10 years the reality. Do we die or do we multiply? But that's my piece on it. So I'm not having this discussion again, ever again, because I don't give a fuck about the agenda against, it's not like, yes, it's just a leaf of the full tree. You feel me? So with that, be sure to follow me on my Instagram at _just_scene_. Be sure to follow the podcast at the Just Scene Podcast. If you're trying to transition into the plant-based lifestyle, be sure to follow the 90-day vegan course. If you're want to learn how to trade, if you want to learn how to day trade and invest, you can visit, you can enroll in Mastering the Market, the Comprehensive Guide to Forex Trading. Be sure to get my book, Hitting It Raw, Living a Raw Plant-Based Lifestyle for Life, So Frail, a Reality to Black Male Masculinity, and So Frail 2, Toxic Femininity. I also take tips and donations, as well as sponsorships, and that can all be found in the description of your podcast. If you fuck with me, don't DM me no more about this, about what my thoughts are, how I feel about it. These are my thoughts, and this is what it is. You feel me? Look around. You'll see what I'm talking about. It ain't about believing the shit. It's just about understanding history. Old head once told, I ain't gonna call him old head because he's an elder. Let me not disrespect him like that. An elder once told me, he said, a prophet is not some kind of magical thing. A prophet is someone who can understand history, analyze the past, and predict the future. The history's there. The present is definitely here. The future is easy to predict. The question is, will we die? I'll leave that up to y'all. Go kiss your babies, hug your babies, love your babies, teach your babies what you feel you need to teach them. You feel me? Kiss on them, make sure they eat their vegetables. Love them. Love them, please. Love them wholeheartedly. Don't love them. Don't let your lack of love force them into things that will garner love from outside sources. Because that is a lot of what's happening right here. Always remember that respect is to men what love is to women. All right? and stand true and stand firm to all that you accept, acknowledge, believe in, know, experience, and understand. And with that being said, I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I'm out.